Hey, this is Tom, and this is important. I have a critical, urgent warning for all investors out there. Whether you're an index fund investor, individual stocks, tech, Dow Jones, whatever that may be, you want to hear what I got to say in this video, watch it all the way through and then thank me later because this video might save you a lot of money. This is serious stuff. This is no laughing matter. This is not clickbait. This is actual important information you need to have. Okay, so I've been talking about a recession for a long time. I've said since the beginning of 2021 that a big recession is headed our way because the Fed is not messing around. They'll raise interest rates. They'll actually create a recession intentionally. When they say they're creating a destruction of demand, that's literally what they're saying. Once the Fed starts raising interest rates, this is the point of no return to a recession we haven't seen in more than a decade. And now, the final pieces are finally starting to fall. I'll show you in this video. Trust me, I'm not clickbaiting you. Look, in the recession, there's kind of a domino effect. A few pieces have to fall before the final one actually hits a recession. The main thing that you would see in the beginning of a recession is auto. The auto market cools off the first because, people go to cheaper cars before they actually start defaulting on homes. And basically, that's the first thing that you always see drop. Now, we've seen a major decline in the auto market. The data shows that this year, 2022, is going to be the worst year in U.S. auto sales since 2012. We have not only underperformed, we have dropped 20% in auto sales in the past 4 years. And just in the past year, we dropped just by 8% alone. Basically going from 17 million vehicles just 3 years ago to just 14, a little bit under 14, 13.7 million vehicles according to all estimates. Now, we've seen this actually start to play out in the auto market, right? The demand is going down. The numbers are just horrendous. We haven't seen this weakness in the auto market in the past decade. That's the first thing that happened. Now, the second piece of the domino is the real estate market. Once auto sales started declining, we focused on real estate. And a few weeks ago, I made a video warning you, hey, this is the second piece. I told you, look at Blackstone, look at Starwood. These are the two largest private REITs. A REIT is a real estate investment trust in the world, a combined value of about $87 billion. Just Blackstone alone is a $69 billion fund. So both these funds, flagship private REITs, have limited withdrawals because they hit redemption caps for the month, for the quarter, for the year. They basically told their investors, hey, you cannot withdraw more money. We're stopping this because we hit our cap. That usually doesn't happen. And the fact of the matter is, when we took a look at the entire industry, private REITs have not only been in the toilet for the past few months, they've been going hard. Now, it's not just a Blackstone and Starwood thing. Private REIT redemptions, basically investors taking out cash from private REITs, went from $380 million per quarter in Q3 of last year to $3.8 billion in Q3 of this year. 10x. And I'm not talking about Grant Cardone here. 10 times more redemptions in the private REITs, and that's no laughing matter. It's a 1,000% increase of people taking out cash, running away from the real estate market. Now, I know the people in Blackstone explain, well, this came a lot from Asia. This was a temporary thing. They got to say this to you. The real estate market is slowing down. It is not just about Blackstone and Starwood. Look at what's going on with home sales. Home sales in the US have dropped 35% year over year and 7.7% just in November alone. On top of that, we have a new research showing that 75% of home builders in the US are now offering to their clients mortgage buy downs, essentially offering buyers to subsidize their mortgage just to get them to buy homes. Now, home builders are offering people discounts on their mortgage, essentially for the home builders to pay for the first year, 2 years, 3 years, just to get people to sign up. Now, we've seen what's going on with the auto market. Obviously, the worst year we had since 2012. We are down 35% in home sales volume. We are 10 times more withdrawals as far as the Q3 last year from private REITs, and 75% of home builders are subsidizing mortgages just to get people to buy. So these are old news. We knew these pieces happened. We knew these events happened. But now there's a new event that actually is the third and final piece of the domino. Because you see, over the past few months, we've seen the Fed adopt an aggressive approach we haven't seen since the Paul Volcker days. This current rate of interest rate hikes is second to none except Volcker. This is faster than 1988, faster than 1994, faster than 1999, faster than 2004, and definitely faster than 2015. This is the fastest rate the Fed has ever increased interest rates except Paul Volcker. And here's the important part. Here's the critical urgent warning. Look, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can differentiate between possible and probable. And what I'm about to show right now is not probable. A lot of investors are betting and are gambling away their life savings, assuming because the auto market is down, the housing market is down, and because Michael Burry issued some warning that the Fed is going to pivot real soon. Now, I don't know if they will or they won't, but what I can do is offer you information the same way I do for myself. Now, the December minutes just came out from the Fed, and the Fed literally said in the December minutes, hey, we're not reducing rates for 2023. In fact, we will increase rates for 2023. Our only concern is not to stop too soon because that's the worst thing that can happen. We're more concerned about stopping too soon and inflation coming back than actually not pivoting on time. So no pivot in 2023 according to the Fed minutes from December. Now, if you add it up to the final piece of the puzzle, you really see where it becomes scary. If the Fed actually communicated to you that they're not going to slow down and this policy will continue, the next piece of the puzzle is going to be the one that starts that recession, that heavy recession. You see, because the one thing that people always talk about in a recession is that argument that the unemployment market, or rather the employment market, is just too darn strong to point out to a recession. Currently at 3.7% unemployment, historically low number. Everybody has a job. How can it be a recession? Well, you see, the problem is if this policy continues, that pain is going to come because if you actually hear Jerome Powell and Williams and a lot of his lieutenants, they all talk about 5% unemployment. They want to take it from 3.7 all the way to 5% unemployment. And it's going to happen in 2023 because there's no way to slowly create unemployment. Unemployment happens fast and sharp, like a heart attack. It just comes at you before you even know it. Why? Well, think of yourself as an employee. Think of yourself as an employer. As an employee, you want to keep spending as much as you can to keep your lifestyle. So you're still buying the same stuff. You're still trying to get to the same level of lifestyle you had when money was plentiful. And on the other side, on the flip side of it, the employers, they still want to retain employees as much as possible, even if they're losing money, because they understand that the cost of rehiring, retraining, and basically all this mess is not worthwhile if we could just outlast this winter and survive for the next 6 months. So employers are holding on to employees, and employees are basically spending as much as they can because they want to keep their lifestyle. At some point, this bullshit festival has to end. And that bullshit festival is about to end because the Fed has communicated to you, they told you, we're taking this to 5% unemployment. And there's one thing I can tell you, if we go from 3.7% to 5% employment in a single year, the feet will hit the shan. It's not going to be pretty. When it actually hits 5%, it's going to be very, very painful. Employees understand they can't spend as much. That lifestyle is gone. They accept it. They spend much less. Employers are actually saying, well, this is for real. We actually have to fire. And for that bubble to pop, two things need to happen. Employees need to run out of money, so they can't shop anymore. And employers need to start laying off people because this actually leads to people spending less. Layoffs lead to less spending. It's a vicious cycle. But for this bubble to pop, two things need to happen. People need to run out of money and employers need to start laying off. Now, I've already showed you. The United States is currently at the lowest personal savings rate as a percentage of DPI, of disposable personal income, since 2007, November 2007, at almost 3%. So we know that people are still spending just as much, but they're running out of money. They're literally eating away their savings at 3% right now versus 14% just a couple of years ago. On the flip side, the layoffs have started. Look, Amazon just announced 18,000 employees going home. That's a lot of people who would not be spending anymore. The tech industry in general is going berserk. 150,000 employees went home in 2022. That's a 100% increase from 2021. And by the way, in 2020, we just had 15,000 employees. So that's 10x from just 2 years ago. Goldman Sachs reducing by 8% their workforce. Salesforce by 10%, laying off 7,000 people. Vimeo, 11%. The list goes on. You see what I'm saying here? The layoffs have started. And that unfortunately means that the last piece in the domino is starting to shake and it's about to fall. the employment or unemployment market is about to go berserk from 3.7 to 5, 6, 7. I don't know if the Fed can stop at 5. Once you start rolling that ball, you never know where it's going to stop. And I fear for investors who think that the Fed pivot is going to come soon and fix all their problems. Do not fight the Fed. It's not a good idea. Please listen to what I'm saying here. Do not fight the Fed. Be very careful with your money. And don't gamble away your life savings on the hopium of a pivot. If it comes, great. But if it doesn't, please be analytical. See you next video.